Hello and welcome to Kabbalistic Astrology, the world's weekly forecast. We're waving you on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can see that. If you're on Anchor or Spotify on the podcast, you don't, but we waved at you in the ethers. We're going to talk about the world's weekly update. What does the planets do? What's going on? Where do we have to take care? Where do we have to be maybe little bit more conscious, and how can we maneuver ourselves through this week in order to really get closer to a higher, happier, more joyful life. Hi Matt, how are you this week?
Hi, good. I'm very good. For a moment there, when you were doing the introduction, my mind went completely blank, and I was like, I don't know anything. I just had this moment where I was
Never
like,
heard of that
I don't know
before.
anything. What am I going to talk about? And it's a complete blank. Yes. But
Yes.
beside that, I'm back on the planet now.
Oh, good for you.
And I'm remembering what I'm doing here. I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
I am very good, thank you very much. I had to move my recording to the kitchen because in the office that I usually use, the heating is not working at the moment, so it's freezing cold. So I moved my whole center this week and last week as well. I moved it to the kitchen, so I'm basically living in the kitchen now and in my bedroom. So
Okay. It's a good choice of room. I choose that.
absolutely, it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, this week we are still in the month of Sagittarius. We are just after the full moon, so we are on the home straight. Now we're in the second half now. So last week we had a full moon of Sagittarius. It's sort of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The moon is when was it? Wednesday to Friday, really. It's a 2.5 day period. Of
Hmm.
course, there's a high point when the moon is directly opposite the sun. But really, the moon is in Gemini. In this case, it was in Gemini, which is the full moon of Sagittarius. So during that time was very interesting because also in Gemini is Mars retrograde, and last week we also started the week with the moon in Aries.
Hmm.
So which Mars is the ruler of Aries, so we really had a week where Mars last week was very active in the system. And of course, when you have a full moon that falls on the exact, more or less the same degree as another planet, it really elevates that planet. Plus, that planet was also in retrograde. So Mars is in retrograde. The full moon really pumped it up. So it was a week where you could have either been really ambitious with a lot of desire and starting new things with a lot of passion, really going for things. This is a Mars sort of going out, being strong energy with a lot of chi, a lot of force. Yeah. Or it could have been that. And or a week where you felt agitated, upset, angry, impatient, nothing's going fast enough. That's the negative of Mars, is it burns all of the stuff out. So you could have had both moments of both, but because Sagittarius is a fire sign, we started last week with the moon in Aries, which is a fire sign. We had a full moon with Mars retrograde, and Mars is a very fire drive energy. It was really quite heated. So this is why maybe last week and the beginning of this week you may feel a lot of old anger issue or stuff that's really annoying or impatient, or you're getting frustrated. So just to know that's why that's happening. But obviously we're not meant to be just living with it, we're meant to be transforming it. And a lot of the energy that you want to transform it is desire or passion, really going and doing something, really going out there and doing the things that perhaps you haven't done before. Take a risk. That's a very fire energy. So to place the energy into something positive, something creative, something where you want to start something new, or you've put something off. And usually anger is a result of not being able to finish things, not being able to feel as though you're doing the things that you want to do, or and you feel like you're a little bit in the corner, backed into the corner, right? And that's when you explode. But it's not really actually the issue that is in front of you that is triggering it. It's deeper than that. So you have to look at perhaps, where am I need to expand? Where do I need to grow? Which is the month of Sagittarius. Where do I need to put that energy so that I'm going out and fighting battles, but not the battles of other people, the battles of my own limitations. And Mars is retrograding in Gemini. Gemini doesn't really have many limitations. It's a very multi-dimensional, multi-perspective kind of energy. So Mars retrograding in there is giving us all new different views and perspectives on how to look at things, on different ways of looking at the same thing, you know? So Geminis are very good at bringing in new information, new communication, new ways of talking about things, new ways of looking at things. It's a very, like, a bit trickstery in the way that it can be a bit negative, and it's a bit trickstery, like it's trying to get out of things, but it's also very positive in the way that it can move and shift very quickly. Yeah.
I experienced last week the full moon here in Central Europe. It was on the 8th of December.
Ah, yes.
Which is also the Mary Conception Day.
That was the height. That was the height when the
that
moon
was
and the
the
sun
height
were.
part.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And I really used it I taught a Kundalini yoga class. I decided to do new moons and full moons from now on. So I used this day with a lot of fire to like really set the intention to teach Kundalini yoga on these days now. And it was so interesting. We were like, it was like online. We were like 10 people attending. And all of them after that got me the feedback, oh my God, I saw Mary Magdalene, I saw Mother Mary, like there was an opening there. And so there's this one Kundalini yoga teacher, he said the full moon was also in a constellation called Rohini. And Rohini is a Venus constellation, and Venus was there as well. And the moon loves Rohini. So I think what the positive amplification of that whole full moon was, according to the Kundi Mundi yoga people, was like, it was an opening to more love, to very Venusian, nurturing, mothering energies. And I could totally feel that coming in on this full moon day. So it's very interesting to see how even the full moon or a new moon, how the duality on planet Earth, like whatever you experience, you can choose the constructive side of something or the destructive side of something. And it's your subconscious choice what you experience with these moons. And you can also see, like, when the moon, or when also these eclipse seasons, when they're impacting you negatively, you at least know where to look at, where to work on, all the blocks that you have experienced maybe in the last couple of months. You now know what to do with them. You now know, like, where can I work deeper? Where can I go deeper within?
Yes, it's a great opportunity for like a portal that opens up many really different things.
Yes.
And that's the great thing about Sagittarius and Gemini, like that axis is very much with the mind. It's very much with thought, beliefs, what I'm looking at and how I choose to interpret it. So the whole thing in that portal with the Sagittarius Gemini full moon is really opening up, like, to go beyond limitation. And Mars retrograding is like, where are you limited? So it could be internal things like my ability to love, my ability to feel compassion, or my ability to love myself, right? Whatever, all sorts of intangibles, and also maybe physical things as well. It's like reviewing, where am I limited and where do I want to break through? So it's the CEO of miracles, and we're in the month of miracles with the month of Sagittarius, where that's how we create miracles, is breaking our own limitations. And so we're congested or blocked with reactive triggers such as anger, frustration, impatience, those hot, fiery energies that make our face red, right? Because Mars is the red planet that reflects something about shame, no? Yeah, it's usually the embarrassment, anger, all of that family of reactive emotions that we contain as humans would have been demonstrated during this moment, maybe before, maybe after, I don't know, but it's opening spaces to see where I'm reactive. And therefore, if I'm one in that space, we feel unlimited, right? We feel we're in control. We feel we're the boss. We feel we're dominating others, but actually we're so like doing the opposite, and so closing down all the opportunities for miracles and blessings and new openings. Yeah. So this is the whole kind of energy that we have available for us at the moment, is to see our triggers for sure, but realize that there are limitations, and that we are looking to maybe transform that energy into more, as you say, constructive ways.
Yeah, we in many mystical schools, in many religions, in many also yogic sciences, we know that there's like the two currents available here on planet Earth. It's the constructive, loving, nurturing kind of way that you can live your life. And then there's the destructive way of living your life. And I think this is a really interesting thing to think about, also to maybe to read about, or to go into the philosophy of it, like, or ask yourself, like, where do I really have ever made a decision to be constructive? Like, I believe most people didn't even think of that ever in their life. They maybe think about being more compassionate or being more loving. That's what they do. But have you ever made the decision to actually decide that you want to live a constructive life? And what does constructive mean? Being constructive with yourself, being constructive with your loved ones, being constructive with the environment, being constructive with the animals, being constructive with your thoughts and beliefs, being constructive with what you work, what. So like all of that, I find that, like, for me, that was very, very liberating to have set this, it's kind of a North Star, like of a lighthouse in my inner value set, that this is where I want to go. I want to live the most constructive life I can live. And when I feel that there's blocks coming up against the constructive life, against maybe also fears, like currently I have decided to move to go travel next year, quite an extended amount of months. I will be on the road and I will be experiencing different things. And there, of course, there's fear coming up, like, how can I finance that? Will I be safe? Will I have a good time? Will I be able to do it? What, all those things. But nevertheless, these are like just the blocks that are coming up, so I can look at them, so then I can go into the more constructive side of my incarnation. And there are many techniques that we can use, and I feel this is a very important thing to keep in mind, that when you have that North Star, that lighthouse in your value set, where you decided that you want to live a life, like I have decided for myself, I want to live a life where I can be of the most service to humanity that I can be. This is a decision I made. So and I feel that having made this decision, everything that comes up that wants to block that, where I would probably, like 10 years ago, I would be like, oh yeah, no, then I cannot do it. I can pierce through the blocks. I can pierce through the little mountains of life, where you just have to like find another way to go there, and just to not give up. Like, there is a way through every block. This is one of the five sutras in Kundalini Yoga. There's a way through every block, and the other person is you. So living a constructive life means to be there for others as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And there's a couple of other, planetary alignments that fit in with this kind of ideas that you're talking about. So one of the things that's happened this week is that Mercury and Venus have gone into Capricorn. So they would have finished in Sagittarius. Now, Mercury finalizing in Sagittarius is what I said a couple of weeks ago, is that it often brings heated argument, because Sagittarius have no filter on their mouth. I think maybe at the beginning I talked about the correction of Sagittarius is the mouth, and Mercury is in there, and we need to come with compassion and kindness. And You know, because in this particular month when Mercury is in Sagittarius, a lot of things just come out without it, right? Mm-hmm. And now, so as it would have finished in Sagittarius and gone to the end, all that heats up. And so, you know, particularly with Mars retrograde, and last week with the Aries triggering, you know, the moon, all sorts of things, it's really heating up for words that are damaging, you know? Mm-hmm. So that might have happened, but certainly look in the bigger picture about, like, you know, what's being said and what we're talking about. And, you know, a lot of the big topics at the moment are around who said what to whom and all of that, like Meghan and Harry and all of those like things. So now Mercury has gone into Capricorn. It sets a different tone. Capricorn is about time, money, structures. You know, it's about putting logic and order into things, about how you want to piece things together. It's also very close to Venus, which is about bringing through abundance in Capricorn and value. Yeah. So this is a time with Mercury and Venus in Capricorn where the things that we value, the way we want to construct things, the one things that are sensibly important to us, practically important to us, really get put into a construct. Yeah. So it's about like taking maybe all of the Sagittarius big picture, or this is where I want to go on my journey. This is what I want to create, the miracles that I feel inside me, and actually creating something that is very calm and balanced and logical into the reality from it. Yeah. So the Capricorn people are very time is money. This is what it is. This is what it costs. This is what you put in the diary. They're very, I find them very reliable kind of energy. You know, it's just a down to earth. This is what's going to happen, and what we said is what's going to happen. You know, of course, it's a little heavy, right? It's like, okay, that's a little bit too much, like borders, you know, around things, and constrict a little too heavy with like, okay, so it's that. Like, can we shake it up a little bit? Like, they're not going to do that. But yes, it has that more, I'm cementing things, or I'm constructing things into a reality here with 2 planets moving into Capricorn. Also, this Jupiter Jupiter went through Pisces. Jupiter usually takes about a year to go through a sign, but it went through Pisces without retrograding. It retrograded back in September or October, and it's finished. So it went past Pisces without retrograding into Aries, and then it's retrograded and then come back to Pisces. So it's back in Pisces now, but right at the end. And as I said, when a planet's at the end of the sign, it really heats up its energy. So Jupiter is about in Pisces, is about that big love, that big compassion, that big unity, that big sort of feeling that, you know, I'm, yeah, that big sort of like generosity and sharing, right? That comes through. There's some negatives as well, like the what we're attached to, what we're addicted to, what we think is going to make us happy, but really it's just like a false guru sort of thing, you know? So this is the time when we're connecting into what really makes me happy. You know, what have I got to construct in my life? What have I got to break that I've got to do that really makes me happy, that really breaks my sharing, really makes me generous, really brings me mercy in a practical way, yeah, in an earthy way? What have I got to construct here? Yeah, what's not in my current realm of nature, that is outside my realm of nature, that I need to rethink, that brings in a new possibility that really makes me happy, that I can go and achieve. Yeah. And this is what we're being pushed into this week. The moon also starts in Cancer, which is a reflective energy. Yeah, it gets us more intuitive. What do I feel in my feelings are the ways to go that will open a space for more joy, for more happiness, which is a Sagittarius energy, very big energy. And that's what we're kind of leaning to in this week. So it's also maybe out of the, yeah, that's okay. Maybe out of the frustrations and the angers and the arguments and the frustrations that may have occurred up until this point, it opens a space for something that that we can now go, okay, so all this is not working. What do I need to put in that works, you know, that really makes me happy? So yeah, we'll see a shift. After the full moon is a more potent energy. Not many people know this. So the full moon is obviously very cosmically opening, and you can go to get a lot of light, and you can connect to many things. Like, it's very important. But it's the following 5-6 days, week, that is sharing energy. So I've got all of this light from the moon. Okay, great for you, right? But now after that is where do I share it? Yeah, where do I put it? And then of course we finish off the last week of the month with, let me review what I've created and go into a next month, right? We finalize, like, let's have a look at it, let's judge it, let's, like, is it good or bad? What do I do next? So it's reflective. But this week is about sharing, and you're sharing from what I'm wanting to make me happy.
Yeah, and it's also like the joy and the rejoice is also a big Tibetan teaching, Tibetan Buddhism teaching, rejoicing.
Right.
And the joy is actually one of the main frequencies for prosperity. Like, if you want to, if you want to start to invoke prosperity into your life, into your body, into your wealth, into your abundance, if you want to be truly prosperous on many different levels, not of course financially, but also like health wise, also joy wise, grace wise, then joy is the key to this prosperity game. And I think that's a great opening that is currently there with this Capricorn energy that is really opening up now, and Venus in
yes, right, because it's like this Sagittarius Capricorn is this joy energy for sure, and the Capricorn energy is definitely, and as to a certain degree Pisces energy is very abundant and prosperous.
Yes.
So yeah, this kind of link you've made with joy is the key to abundance is very good, no, because I think that's where we're shifting.
Actually,
See,
it's a Kundalini yoga teaching as well, that like understanding that you can be grateful and thankful and joyful for the things you have. The more you can feel that, the more you can either not be in the lack mentality, but in the joy, thankfulness,
that's right,
graceful, that's very magnetic. And then you attract the things you're supposed to attract, and that's a kind of a relaxing into the being thankful,
the flow
we have. Yes. And we have next year, Bettina, Matt, and we do next year a prosperity accelerator. We will be out with this communication very soon, and then we have a 4-day retreat in Zurich, Switzerland in the beginning of May. And there we will teach, like, for 4 days, like, all prosperity principles, and we will accelerate your connection to prosperity. So there will be more teachings in that.
Yes, you can do it online, or you can do it with us in Zurich.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're going to announce there's 2 options, and it's a 4-day sort of sessions, but the sessions are like, you start like, oh, I'm just sitting and just listening for 4 days. It's very active, participating, doing a lot of things so that you come out really clear, no, after the end of it.
And we have so that gives speeches about like how to
all sorts of things, no, it's so good. I'm very excited about it, actually.
Excited. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the week, and it's kind of as you said, lean into it, go with the grace of it, and go beyond the limitations and look for your joy there, and you will maybe open something new for yourself.
I'm very sure that this is possible this week. Today, by the way, numerology-wise, is 12/12/2022, which is a 336 day, which is also very interesting numerologically.
Right.
So yeah. So there at the moment, there are like many openings, like from last full moon, like over the 21st of December, which is then winter solstice, which is a high holy day in many cultures, till the 6th of January, where we have like, this is that moon cycle. and the 7th of January will be the full moon again. The full moon in Capricorn then, I guess. Capricorn, right?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So in this period, this is like really the windows for more light, more joy, more grace, more peace, more compassion are wide open. And if you make the decision to go through that door, you can experience true miracles, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And next week will be our last one before Christmas. So I will make sure that I've mapped out the 2 weeks that we are not doing podcasts and give you like a Christmas, New Year complete, like, you know, things. So
day by day, what is
day by day,
do and not to do?
Yeah.
But it will probably be a little bit longer than usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Give you something to listen to over Christmas, no?
Yes. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We really love to have you. If you like our podcast, please share it with your friends, share it with your work colleagues, with whoever wants to hear it. You can also share us on social media. We highly appreciate it. And we wish you a wonderful week and a good pre-Christmas preparation time.
Very good.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.